Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, and eyes are all quivering again and again. I am having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings. Please repeat. The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, and eyes are all quivering again and again. I am having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings. Material existence is full of undesirables. Things we do not want are forced upon us by some superior energy. And we do not see that these undesirables are under the grip of the three modes of material nature. When a man's eyes, arms, and thighs all quiver constantly, one must know that something is going to happen which is undesirable. These undesirables are compared to fire in a forest. No one goes into the forest to set fire, but fires automatically take place in the forest, creating inconceivable calamities for the living beings of the forest. Such a fire cannot be extinguished by any human efforts. The fire can be extinguished only by the mercy of the Lord, who sends clouds to pour water on the forest. Similarly, undesirable happenings in life cannot be checked by any number of plans. Such miseries can be removed only by the mercy of the Lord, who sends his bona fide representatives to enlighten human beings and thus save them from all calamities. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jana Jana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Yudhisthira Maharaj is experiencing some inauspicious symptoms within his body. And he's feeling that perhaps Krishna may be leaving the planet. Krishna Surya Samaya Maya Hara Andhikar Yahan Krishna Nahi Maya Adhikar. Wherever there's Krishna is just like the sun. The sun of Krishna will disappear all the darkness of ignorance. So, in this material world, Prabhupada is describing in this purport is he's comparing it to a great forest. And we read also in the 5th canto, when Jadabharata meets Maharaja Rahugana. Jadabharata, of course, is completely Mahabhagavat, great devotee of the Lord. And he describes this entire forest of the material enjoyment. This material world, as described here, is full of dangers, just like in the bamboo forest. When the bamboo trees rub against each other, somehow fire comes. So, this material world is full of danger. Shamashitaye parapalava plavam mahatpadam punya yasho murari bhavam buddharyastvam param param param. Step by step in the material world, there's always danger. The adhyatmika klesh, adhibautika klesh, adidaivika klesh. Sometimes there's hurricanes, tornadoes, hot and cold. So many problems are there. Living entities may attack us in the forest of material enjoyment. Jadabharata explains that the government officials are just like vultures and meat-eating birds who are trying to take your flesh in the form of taxes and so on. In Kali Yuga especially, there's so many problems. Kalir dosha nidirajan. there's so many doshas, so many problems all the time coming up. So step by step, this material world is janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshani darshanam. A learned person sees that this material world, this samsara, this ocean of material existence is simply like an ocean of misery. However, Sukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit that if one takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then this entire ocean of miseries is turned into as much water that can fit into the hoof of a calf. Bhavam buddhir yastam patam padam yad vipadam natesham. Murari, Krishna, the enemy of the Mura demon, if one takes shelter of him. So therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna that Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matpara. You should always think of me. Matchita sarva durgani matprasada tarishyasi. If you become conscious of me, then I will remove all the obstacles in your life. Of course, we know, like the Pandavas, they went through so many types of sufferings. Forest, the shalak fire of their house, their enemies, the Kauravas, were trying to kill them, administer poison to them. Although they're pure devotees of the Lord, they went through so many sufferings, so many adverse conditions. Draupadi lost her sons at the hands of Aswatam. So many adverse conditions are there, even for the devotees. But it's stated, Tatenu kampam shushamikshmano bhajahazago bhajanti vijay ananya Tatenu kampam shushamikshmano bunjane vatma kritam vipakam rigva vadudir vidadam namaste Jiveta yo mukti padaya sadaya bhak. That the devotee, he accepts these trials, and we accept the trials and tribulations in this world. We see them as sent by the Lord. We see them as Krishna's testing us, making us more dependent on him. Even Haridas Thakur, great devotee of the Lord, the Namacharya, he was beaten in 22 marketplaces. They were trying to kill him. But, you know, he took shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, he didn't even feel any animosity for those who were beating him and trying to kill him. What was he doing? What is his fault? As Prabhupada said, what is our fault? That they're trying to extinguish the Hare Krishna movement. In New York, they took the devotees, they took the ISKCON movement to court to try and, you know, eliminate us as an evil force. And Kamsa, you know, he's trying to kill Krishna. So Prabhupada said, Kamsa like men, they're trying to kill the Hare Krishna movement. And they spread so much propaganda that, you know, the Hare Krishnas are bad. What is our fault? Simply chanting Hare Krishna, simply telling people how to surrender. Inechio sadomaya nashibara lagi. We're giving them the medicine that will cure the disease. They're suffering from this disease. Although, as Krishna tells Arjuna, the demoniac mentality, demoniac class of men, aneka chitta vibranta, mohajala samavitaha, kama prakshena kamabogeshu apanti narakesucho, that these arrogant materialistic people whose their only goal in life is to accumulate wealth, idam adyamala mayalabdam imam prapshe manoratam idam astitam apime bhavishyati punardanam. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. I have so much, and I will gain more and more. Aso maya hata shatrur konustu sadrisham maya this person is my enemy and I will kill him, and my other enemies, I will kill them also. This is the mentality of our modern society. In the Ishopanishad, Prabhupada describes in the purport the verse andam tamas pravishanti evidam upasate tato bhuya te tamo, that those who cultivate materialistic, nescient activities, they're gliding down. Patanti narake sucho, they're gliding to the hellish planets. They're taking birth in the lower species of life in their next birth. And worse still, for those who teach nescience. So the world is being led by atheistic scientists, atheistic philosophers. Bertrand Russell, he wrote a book, Why I'm Not a Christian. The atheistic scientist, like a famous zoologist, his name is Richard Dawkins, and he's claiming that, simply by unguided, unplanned forces working on, genetic mutations, we get different species of life. It's called the theory of, they call it neo-Darwinism. That there's no God in control. Asatyam apratishtam te jagata huranishvaram. Aparasparam kimanyat kama hoitukim. Aparasparam sambhutam. Kima ahoitukam. Means that they say that everything is temporary. This is called empirical philosophy, empiricism. Seeing is believing. If I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Satyam, everything is temporary. Why? Just enjoy life. This is the philosophy of the atheists, and they're ruling the world. They're assuming the seat of authority. People say, oh no, I believe in science. They're the authorities. They have their microscopes and telescopes, and their theory is they've discovered somehow or another, Einstein and all these so-called big scientists, they discovered that the universe is expanding. There's a famous scientist called Carl Sagan, cosmologist. He said it's quite a coincidence that the Hindu accounts of the cosmos are very similar to our findings, our scientific finding. But of course, it's just a coincidence. Carl Sagan, famous astrophysicist. So they say that just as the world is the universe is expanding, so what they do is they extrapolate backwards, and they said it started with a tiny little speck of singularity, where a black hole, where it was so condensed, matter was so condensed, and it started off as a singularity, infinite density and infinite temperature. Okay, tell me what infinity is. You have a theory based on something you don't know what it is. They don't know what infinity is. Anyway, they say there is a big explosion. And then after a while, 20 billion years ago, these are pure speculations. So they're condemned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Namam duskritina mudha prapadyante naratama. Mayaya aparita jnana. Their intellect is stolen by Maya. They conceive these, they come up with these crazy ideas. Although we see, like, can you make us something? Make us one cell. We challenge them. We say, make one living cell, just a tiny little cell. Inside the cell is so complicated. It's like a factory with so many things going on, and it's based on the DNA. The DNA is like a code, an instructional code. A string of DNA is 3 million different letters put in a very specific way to tell the cell. It instructs how it can manufacture what is called protein molecules or nanomolecules, very tiny little machines, nanomachines, which go around doing different activities, just like in a factory to support, produce a car. So these things are there, and obviously there's a brain behind it. As Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhava matak sarvam pravardhati. He said, I'm the source of both the spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So that is Krishna's instruction, that we are trying to wake up the souls. Jeev Jago, Gora Chanda. And he comes in the age of Kali, in this age, 500 years ago, Krishna appears, and he has to be very merciful. We know that here Krishna is leaving the planet, and he arranged for the death of 600 million warriors on the Battle of Kurukshetra. Only the Pandavas were left. A few people were left. Dhritarashtra was left, and his wife. He killed, Bhaumasura. Jarasandha was killed by Bhima. Pondraka claimed, oh, I'm Vishnu. Who is this Krishna? So in a modern society now, we have so many tiny little demons that say, I'm God, you're God, we're all God. And they go and teach this foolish philosophy. Prabhupada says, those who are teaching that you're God, they're the Maya Aparita Jnani. They make some intellectual word jugglery. It's called Chala Dharma. Chala means word jugglery. So this is spoken in the 7th canto. There's types of dharma which are actually adharma. They're concoctions. Vidharma paradharmascha paradharma na choditaha upadharma tupakando dharma bhav sabdabhichala. Shabdabhichala, word jugglery. So these are all condemned. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu condemned the impersonalists, the Mayavadis. All right? Mayavad, Shunile, Bhashya, Pakandi. They're Pakandis, the lowest. They're lower than the Buddhists. They're lower than the Voidists. Because they say God has no face, no features, no arms. Krishna, he shows Arjuna. Not only does he show Arjuna the universal form, right, on the battlefield, and then Arjuna sees this entire universal form, and then Krishna shows him his 4-arm form, he shows him his 2-arm form, and he says, Naham Vedar na tapasa, nadanina na chejaya, nasakyamevam charjuna, drisavan asimam. This form of 2 arms, which you see here, this Sachit Ananda Vigraha, you can't see this by study of the Vedas, by the performance of austerities. After all, the demons, they perform big austerities. They perform great austerities to, make nuclear weapons. Einstein, he came up with a theory of general relativity where they could split an atom and release so much radiation that it can carve holes in your cells and wipe out and dissipate so much heat and radiation that can destroy Shaya Jagatohita, it'll destroy your whole modern civilization, the bombs they have now. This is all demoniac mentality. So Arjuna is seeing Krishna on the battlefield, and he's saying this form you see, this beautiful form of Shyamasundar, you can't see it by study of the Vedas or intellectual speculations, inventions of crazy ideas and foolish concoctions and gizmos simply to try and conquer. They're trying to conquer the miseries of the material world by their foolish inventions. The problem is, there's one famous Nobel nominee, his name is Fridtjof Capra, and he wrote a book called The Dark Side of Growth. And in there he shows that with all this advancement, this technological advancement, there have been so many side effects, so many consequences. Cancer, heart disease, Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, so many diseases coming from this industrialization of the world. And people think, oh, now, we can fly to Hong Kong. We can, we can use submarines. We can go on the ocean. We can send rockets around the earth. We can go to the moon, although they didn't go to the moon. It's 94 million miles away. So in this way, they invent these things which have so many negative consequences. So now we have people, they wake up. They're not all, you can't fool the people all the time. So now the innocent people of the planet, now they want to help the environment. So this big movement called the green movement, save the environment. It's being polluted by your inventions, by your science. Your scientists are polluting the world. They can create, Prabhupada said they're very good at killing. Now they can kill millions of cows in the slaughterhouse. 34 million cows a year in America alone are being slaughtered. And there's so much repercussion, so much karmic repercussion for slaughtering mother cow. One of the 7 mothers, right? Atma Matta Guru Patni Brahmani Gavihastini, right? How's it go? Brahmani Gavihastini. Dener Datritata Prithvi. So one of our 7 mothers, a cow, very important. All the demigods abide inside the body of the cow. Krishi Go Rakshavani Jam. Krishna, the great Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, Krishi Go Rakshavani Jam. You know, protect the cows, work the land, work Mother Earth, and live simply, simple living. But people are trying to, by their own efforts, Puna puna charvita charvananam. Prahlad says, Tatsadumane suryavarya deyinam sama sadasamudvigya dhyamasa. My dear, best of the demons, Hiranyakashipu. Best of the demons, Hiranya and Kashipu. That's all they want to do. They want to enjoy sense gratification and material opulence. That's all. That's all they're trying to do. Demoniac mentality. And Hiranyakashipu, I mean, he subjugated the entire universe. This universe with all its siddhas and gandharvas and apsaras and manus and kinnaras, all the various higher beings, lower beings, they were all subjugated by Hiranyakashipu. And he stopped the performance of yajna. He stopped the performance of study of scripture, swadhyaya. He stopped all religious practices. Stop Vishnu. We have to get rid of Vishnu, God. You see, Istan Bogan Hive Vodeva Dasante Yagyabhavitaha Tairatana Pradeva Yobunta Stena. They're like thieves. They're claiming this world as their own, right? Ahammameti. Janasyamohoyam. They're bewildered by the material energy. And their only hope is the Lord, who is very merciful in this age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come in the mood of Srimati Radharani, his Krishna himself in the mood of Radharani. So he is very merciful. He is changing the demoniac nature of the people in general who are being led by demoniac leaders and demoniac thinkers. They call themselves the Boston Brahmins in MIT, Harvard, these universities. Oh, we're the Boston Brahmins. We're Brahmins. Brahma Bhuta Prashanatmana Sochati. No, Brahman means one who understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the summum bonum of everything. Param Brahm, Param Dham, Pavicham, Paramam Bhavam, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam, Vibhum. That is Krishna. Arjuna says, Krishna, you are Param Brahm, Param. That is real knowledge. That is the real source of peace and happiness and prosperity in the world is to understand that. So because of ignorance, we see that they are suffering so much. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is liberally Panchatattva. Prabhupada said this is a moment simply chanting, dancing, and taking prasadam. He says it's a very simple movement, very simple process, because in Kali Yuga, manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadrita prayana parisha shabde kalar asmin yuge janaha. People of Kali Yuga, they're born with low brain substance. Their brains are full of stool. They don't understand basically the soul, consciousness. What is the soul? characterized by consciousness, characterized by feelings, emotions, free will. They don't even understand that. Of course, in India, it's a little different, but they're trying to catch up with the West. Let's forget about God, you know. Let's just get more material advancement, you know. But just blind following the blind into the ditch. That's all it is. Nate vidusva artagatimi Vishnu. Simply blind following the blind into the ditch. So in this age, manda sumanda matayo, they're very slow to understand their nature, to understand what is real education, what is real knowledge. And they're upadrutaha. Therefore, because they're completely overwhelmed by the lower modes of nature, as Prabhupada said, what am I doing here and why have you sent me here, Krishna? These people are covered by passion. They have so much wealth, but they're completely overwhelmed by passion and ignorance. And we see like famous people committing suicide. Their minds are so disturbed, upadruta. They're so disturbed. Mental health issues. There's so much suicide in these advanced countries. You know, where I live in Canada, in America, so many foolish things going on. Young people going into the schools and killing their peers with guns. Some fellow goes up in a building and he shoots 56, murders people. People are committing suicide, although they have so much wealth. Movie stars committing suicide, taking drugs, so much drug abuse. Kalir dosha nide rajan. It's an ocean of misery. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful, and Lord Nityananda, he forced his hand. He was going to kill Jagat Madai. They became murderers. They're born in an aristocratic family, high Brahmin family, but they became so degraded that they were murdering people. They were stealing. They were raping. They were pilfering. People would be afraid when they saw them. They'd go the other way. They were so afraid of these gundas, and they even offended the Adi Guru, Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram, in the form of Lord Nityananda, humbly begged them, simply take this holy name, simply take this holy name and chant it and make your life successful. So we know that they got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to kill them, but Nityananda convinced him, no, in this age, you have to be merciful because everyone is low class, influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. They're condemned. Prabhupada met this news reporter in Dallas, and Prabhupada looked at him, and he was saying, well, you know, this movement's really exploding, it's really expanding, and so on. I would say, yes. He said, you're thinking you're the proprietor, but God is the proprietor. He said, your civilization is doomed. So he said, your civilization, so-called civilization is doomed. And, you know, it's there in his purports in the Gita, etam dristam avastabhya nastalpanopa buddhaya prabhavanti ugra karmana shayaya jagato hitaha. That they're engaged in unbeneficial works meant to destroy their own civilizations. It's a civilization that's heading into darkness. It's helter-skelter. It's on the royal road to hell, as Prabhupada would say. A dungeon of demons, he says, in one place. Simply, you know, clubs for men, liquor stores. It's simply nunam pramata kurate vikarma. They're just engaged in sinful activities. They're mad after sense gratification. The fire of sense gratification is engulfing them, but there's misery, right? Krishna warns us in the Bhagavad Gita, Loba pravittam aramba karmana ashamaspriha rajani etani jayante vivide bharatarsh, that in the mode of passion there's greed, materialist, unlimited, uncontrolled material activities, and all you get, rajasastu palam dukam. All you get is misery. That's the payment you get. Work hard like an ass. Dvipada pushu. Two-legged animals. Working hard like asses, and what's your pay? Misery. Thank you. I got lots of misery, you know. And because of this, society, friendship, they have to prop themselves up. I'm a big professor, I'm a big politician, I'm a big this, I'm a big that. But from the eyes of Scripture, we know that, as Krishna says, tata pralinas tamasa mudho joni sujayate, your next birth won't be a human form. Fortunately, Prabhupada said to Bhagavad Das is from New England in the US, and they were sitting at the Radha Damodar temple, and he said, "You reading my books?" He said, "I read my books." Why? He says, "Every morning when I write these books, Krishna comes and dictates to me." He told this to Bhagavad Das. Krishna comes and dictates to me, and I'm just writing. I'm the instrument, like Arjuna is the instrument. He probably said, I'm the instrument, therefore I read my own books. So Krishna has come in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of the Bhagavad Gita, in the cyclic succession. And Prabhupada said, if they touch my books, their lives will become perfect. They don't have to read them, just touch them, he said. And of course, we know the story. Sridhar said, Prabhupada was saying, if you read one page, you'll go back to Godhead. He said, if you don't even read a page, if you read a paragraph, you can go back to Godhead. He said, and he was reading Krishna book. Prabhupada loves Krishna book. He said, if you read just one line, you can go. He said, okay, you read one word, and you go back to Godhead. A famous story Sridhar tells. So this is the potency and mercy of the Lord. As at the end here, he says, who sends his bona fide representatives to enlighten human beings. So in the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami, tat karma pravartane, sato vrite, one should follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Utsahan nishchaya dharma, tat karma pravartanat, sangatyaga sato vrite, sadbir bhakti pranashiti. That these are the 6 forms conducive to your devotional service. And one is to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. And there's a verse like that, of course, Mahiya Sampada Rajobi Shekam, Iskinchanana Viditi, in the Bhagavatam. Unless you get the dust from the lotus feet of the great acharyas, who have no material desires, anihani amanan, ahaniha. They have absolutely, why do they have no material desires? It doesn't mean it's zero. It means they're full of pure love of God, pure bhakti, pramanjana churita bhakti. They're full of love for Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, the lifter of Govardhan Hill. They don't care that he's God even. Devotees don't care. Jnana, Aishvarya. Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying to Rupa Goswami in his Chaitanya Leela Charitamrita, devotees don't care about Jnana Aishvarya. They don't care that Krishna is God. They simply want to serve with untarnished, pure love, without knowledge that he's God. Then they can enter into this pure loving flow, pure river of pure devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord, and can play with him and, jump on his shoulders, play leapfrog with him. That's what Krishna likes. Krishna wants that, forget about me supplying you your needs, yoga kshemam vahamyam. Forget about that. I want you to have pure love for me, like the gopis, like they haven't served, like Mother Yashoda. She's so worried about Krishna that when he was embraced by the Kaliya snake, that she was praying to the trees as if they were great sages. Please supply me some herbs and medicines. My son is being poisoned by Kaliya. And she was praying in ecstatic maternal affection for Krishna. Krishna, he's Sheshanag. His avatar is Sheshanag. He's holding up all the universes. What's a little pebble, water snake like Kaliya? But the love. So Krishna, when he was lifting Govardhan Hill, his hand was shaking. And why was his hand shaking? Because he felt all the love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They were all there under the hill of Govardhan, under Giri Govardhan, and he's feeling their love. He was so impacted by their devotion, by their prem, that his hand shook. That is Krishna, that's what he wants, Bhakta Vatsalya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving this Maho Vadanya avatar, Vadanyaya avatar, Maho Mahavadanyaya. He's greatly, greatly magnanimous because he's saying, take the mercy, take it. So the devotees, they take all risks to give the mercy of the Lord to the fallen souls. Patita Pavana. Devotee is Paradukkha Dukhi. His only lamentation, his only misery is he knows through Shastra that the living entity who may be sitting up on a big golden throne with millions of dollars, Jeff Bezos or, Bill Gates, these guys have so much money, that in their next life, because they're atheistic, like Bill Gates says, I don't believe in God. They don't believe in God. So what's their next birth? Nakatika Topi. Their future is, they don't know what their future is. But it's pretty bad. That the devotees know, Jnana Chakshush. They know that at the time of death, ahani bhutani gachantiya yamalayam. Step by step, they have to go and visit the courtyard of Lord Yamaraj. He's the judge. Just like if you do something wrong, you're taken to court, the judge has to dispose your punishments. Similarly, the judge of the universe is Lord Yamaraj, and he is collecting all information through the 10 directions, through the sun, through the moon. All these are witnesses, witnessing all your sinful activities. So many sins are being committed every day, and there's so much reaction. So this is Shastra Chakshus, devotees seeing through the eyes of the scripture. So they're trying to deliver these people who think, Janasya mohoya maham mameti, ato griha kshetra suteptiviter. I have property, I have friends, I have relatives, everyone loves me. People think I'm so wonderful. Wherever I go, people offer their obeisances to me. And then when time comes, death comes, boom, kicks them in the head. What's your next life? The Yamadutas come and drag you down the road to hell. Down there in Yamaloka. Then you're punished in so many ways, so many hellish planets. Then you're prepared. Now you take birth in the lower species of life. This is the future of those who have no feeling of devotion to the Lord and do not practice the principles of Dharma. This is their future. This is the real future. So our business is simply to take all risks, to force ourselves, push ourselves to distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, give it the knowledge, give the holy name to the fallen souls. That's our only business, isn't it? As Prahlad Maharaj is saying. So many saintly people go to the Himalayas and they do their own Nirjan Bhajan, or their own yoga and meditation. Prabhupada also writes a poem about Kanishta Adhikaris, simply doing their Nirjan Bhajan and chanting Nish Nish Hari Hari and eating rice. Don't be a Kanishta. Kanishtas, they simply are motivated for pratishta and puja, have some followers. I'm a big sannyasi, I'm a big this. No, take a humble position. Lord Nityananda is God himself, and Haridas Thakur is Lord Brahma. They went door to door, facing all kinds of, animosities. Just like in the West, you face so much animosity wherever you go. You face so much animosity, but there are people who are interested. And so you avoid the demoniac and you help the innocent. You associate with devotees and you recognize the Supreme Lord in everyone's heart. Everyone has Krishna in their hearts. He's expanded in their hearts, and we're trying to connect them back to their friend Krishna, the real friend, right? Bhoktaram Yagis Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhut. Your real friend is the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. He's the real friend, and you're trying to link them up. Here, have a Bhagavad Gita. Touch the Bhagavad Gita and feel the nectar, the Chintamani stone of Bhagavad Gita. So, the forest fire of the material world can only be extinguished by this process, the rain of Bhakti Yoga. And the spiritual master is considered to be the rain cloud. And Krishna is the ocean, and the ocean is supplying the rain cloud with the mercy. And then it falls onto the souls. What is it? Knowledge. And in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Forgive me for any offenses I may have committed. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu. I need to hear more volume.
You were saying that if you just read one page of Prabhupada's book, one para, or even a line, or even one word, that will take to come back to Godhead. So if you just elaborate a little bit on this point more clearly, just read one word, how would you know?
So, yeah, he said, if you just read one word, you'll go back to Godhead, to his disciple. Prabhupada was very convinced that he's going to take every one of his followers back home, back to Godhead, Prabhupada Nugas. We may not understand it, but the great acharyas, the great Mahabhagavat, he has the power to take us back. As long as we are sincere, utsahan nischaya dharyat, we're enthusiastic, we're sincere, we avoid dambo darpo bimanascha krodha parushyameva cha agyana chabijatasya asurim partha asurim sambhava. We in the neophytes stage of devotional service may be influenced by pride, arrogance, false ego, harshness, anger for our own selves. So that is the problem about in the beginning stages of devotional service. We commit offenses. We commit offenses to the other devotees, Vaishnava aparad. We feel arrogant. We may be motivated in our devotional life. We want to be, famous in the assembly of devotees. We want position. We want to be gurus. Want to be, leaders. These are all adoration, distinction, profit are the three subtle features of sex desire. So it manifests in these ways, illusion, even in the neophyte stages. So we're stumbling. These are stumbling blocks on our path back to Krishna. We have to come to the state of no offenses to the holy name. We don't commit any of the 10 offenses. That is called Raganuga Bhakti. Spontaneous devotional service. There's the Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they were so humble. They put straw in their mouth. They had everything. Chatvatuna Mashesha Mandalapati. They gave up all their aristocratic position as big ministers in Bengal here. They were ministers to the Emperor of Bengal. They had boatloads of gold. Can you imagine? Boatloads of, if you have one gold coin these days, it's worth 1,500 American dollars. They had boatloads. They gave it all away. They gave it to their relatives. They gave it to Brahmins and Vaishnavas. And they put on kalpan. They gave up all aristocratic lifestyle, put on kalpan, lived under a different tree every night. Why? Because they had the real treasure house of love of God. They opened up the treasure house. Panchatattva opened this treasure house of love of God and distributed the pearls and the diamonds and the mellows of love of God to everyone. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy, he said, I have empowered Rupa Goswami to write these beautiful poetic mellows about the most elevated states of love of God, the love that Radha has for Krishna. That love of Radha and Krishna is being described by the empowered Rupa Goswami. And all the Goswamis were empowered, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Narottam Das Thakur, he sings a song where he says, when will I become eager to read the literatures left by the 6 Goswamis? So this is the real treasure of life, this love for Krishna. So we're neophytes, so we're struggling. At least we should come to Madhyam. Means a desire to deliver the fallen souls. That's our business. Our business is to deliver. Every time you meet someone and they get some mercy, Srila Prabhupada's book or prasadam, or they hear the holy name. Prabhupada said if they're walking down the street and they hear Hare Krishna and they go, oh, that's interesting. Here's $1. He says they get benefit, Jnana Sukriti. They get eternal benefit in their spiritual bank account. It never goes away. More and more benefit. So we always have to be thinking, how can we give this mercy? How can we give the mercy to those conditioned souls who are wallowing in this samsara, in this forest of material existence? It's a place of misery. It's really a place of misery. Huh? The modes of nature are not very nice. Maya is not very kind, She's very cruel. Inechi Yoshadi Maya, Nashi Baralagi. You're sleeping in the lap of the witch called Maya. The lap of the witch. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says she's a witch. It's her job. It's her job. She's a potency of the Lord, Shakti of the Lord. So she's very powerful, very powerful. And they're convinced that, we have to enjoy this world. And the only fruit they get is miseries, more and more miseries, and more births and deaths. So I have 2 more minutes to go, and then we have to shut her down, wrap it up. Is there a quick question, Prabhu? Yeah? 3 minutes, maybe 4.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class.
I
This thinking, feeling, and willing, this is the aspect of mind or the soul?
Yeah, the consciousness comes from the soul, and it goes through the prism of the intelligence and the mind. So the prism, if it's colored by Rajagun, red, Tamagun, black, even Sattvagun, white, then the thinking will be on, if it's influenced by the mode of passion, Rajagun, red, it'll be thinking of how can I enjoy. Even Arjuna wanted to enjoy. He's telling Krishna, how can I enjoy the kingdom if I kill my guru and my grandfather and my cousins and my uncles, like that. So he wanted sense gratification. So thinking The mind is forced to think of sense gratification if it's influenced by the modes of passion. What to speak of the mode of ignorance? Then one derives pleasure from seeing other people in misery. Or one can derive pleasure from inflicting pain on his own body. Like people, they're masochistic. They hurt their body, they get some kind of pleasure. Or, people, they do ethnic cleansing. They'll kill a certain group of people, like the Nazis or something, and they get pleasure from that, genocide. They'll do genocide. In Africa, there was some genocide done in Rwanda a few years ago, like that. So this is the mind being colored by the modes of nature. And then the intelligence becomes contaminated, and it calculates, oh, how can I gratify my senses? Misdirected intelligence. How can I create something that will give me more pleasure? Like this. So, Lord Chaitanya walked all over India, and then, now we have to invent a car so we can drive around India. But Lord Chaitanya was happy to walk to Jagannath Puri, happy to walk down through South India, Takes a little more time. Prabhupada said tractors are ruining India. He said, where's the oxen? Use the oxen. If you don't use the oxen, the father of society, you'll eat him. So everyone's changed over to tractors. Prabhupada said, this is ruining India. They should keep with ox carts. Simple living, simple way. Otherwise, the mind is calculating how to, make things easier, how to make, make things more comfortable for the body, more facilities for the body, like this. And it's a trap, mohajala, right? I quoted that verse, mohajala samavri, like fish caught in a net, the net of illusion, mohajal. A network of illusion. Kamabogeshu, simply to enjoy the senses. I'm over by 2 minutes, so Hare Krishna, time to shut her down. I'll go to Srila Prabhupada.
Samno Indro Brihaspatihi, Samno Vishnu.